Count the lines on the road. Count the rise in the smoke. Same rhythm, same medicine. Speedometer setting low, but my thoughts run fast. Racing through the highlight reels of everything that passed. From the late night arguments to mornings where I froze, to the moments nobody saw when the mask almost closed. I keep my foot just light enough to let the engine purr. No rush, just a gentle hum under the blur. Purple streaks above the hood like a galaxy in bloom. Turn the inside of this cabin to a tiny moving room. I spent years avoiding silence cause it showed me who I was. Filled the gaps with empty chatter, did it just because. But the quiet in this car felt like a friend that finally came. Let me sit with all my questions without drowning in the shame. My reflection in the glass look a little more at ease. I still tired but the tension in my jaw's released. I roll another paper, let the sparks connect the flame. And with every exhale I rename a piece of blame. Smoke on the speedometer, climbing with the miles. 420 therapy, wrapped in drifting spirals. Blues in the stereo, truth in the side. I ain't trying to touch the limit, I'm just learning how to fly. Let the world keep counting seconds like a get-rich meter. I'm just watching how the haze draws halos on the reader. Smoke on the speedometer, slow and steady climb. Turning all my scattered thoughts into a smoother line. I remember being younger, scared of ever slowing down. Convinced of stillness, man, I drown. Every pause felt like a verdict, every rest a guilty plea. Like I owed the whole planet and exhausted better me. Now I see the contradiction in a culture built on speed. How they praise a broken body that forgets its basic needs. So I turn the rush to ritual, made the night a sacred thing. Trade applause and little numbers for the comfort that I bring. I pull off on a lookout just to stare into the dark. Mountains cutting into heaven like a quiet question mark. I don't need a perfect answer, just a moment that is real, where the only rule is breathing and the only job is feel. I think about the ones I love who never take this time, who drown in notifications and forget their own design. And I hope they find an exit somewhere off that crowded lane, where the air is clear enough to recognize their name. Smoke on the speedometer, climbing with the miles. 420 therapy, wrapped in drifting spirals. Blues in the stereo, truth in the side. I ain't trying to touch the limit, I'm just learning how to fly. Let the world keep counting seconds like a get-rich meter. I'm just watching how the haze draws halos on the reader. Smoke on the speedometer, slow and steady climb. Turning all my scattered thoughts into a smoother line. Some nights I drive in circles, end up right where I began. But my chest feels slightly softer and my pulse a calmer, man. Not every trip needs distance, not every change is loud. Sometimes growing is invisible, I start behind a cloud. So if you ever feel you're stalling while the others seem to win, remember engines also idle when they're saving what's within. You can coast along the shoulder, you can rest beside the lane. You can take a deeper breath and still be moving just the same. I slide back on the highway with a lighter kind of weight. Same problems in the blueprint but a different heart state. I ain't fixed, I ain't flawless, but I'm grounded when I steer. Knowing every little trigger, knowing why it put me here. And when I glance at that small dial glowing softly in the dash, I don't see a number chasing me like lightning loud and brash. I just see a simple circle framed in gentle smoky rings. Like a clock that doesn't matter, like a cage that lost its strings. So I let the needle wander, let it dance where it decides. While the road unfolds its stories in these violet quiet rides. If they ask me what I'm chasing, I'll just laugh and say not much. Just a couple honest moments, just a breath I wanna touch. Smoke on the speedometer, climbing with the miles. 420 therapy, wrapped in drifting spirals. Blues in the stereo, truth in the side. I ain't trying to touch the limit, I'm just learning how to fly. Let the world keep counting seconds like a get-rich meter. I'm just watching how the haze draws halos on the reader. Smoke on the speedometer, slow and steady climb. Turning all my scattered thoughts into a smoother line. When the tank runs low and the sky turns pale, I park this little confessional at the end of some trail. Step out with clearer lungs, leave the rush to the cheaters. I got peace in my rear view, smoke on the speedometer. Smoke on the speedometer. Thoughts louder than the engine. Passengers in my head, no one in the other seat. Every voice a different version of the person I could be. One be saying hit the gas, one be saying hit the brakes. One be counting every failure, one be learning from mistakes. Purple skyline on the windshield like a bruise across the sky. Every star a tiny question asking softly who am I? I got ink around my fingers like receipts from every war. Every scar another story that I never told before. I've been driving through my memories like a looping city block. Same corners, same regrets, same arguments with the clock. But tonight I wrote a truce up in this little paper shell. Took a drag and told my demons they could take the night off hell. Stereo on low, just a dusty guitar line. Kick drum like a second heart beating underneath mine. Fire hits around the edges like the frame of old film. Makes the moment feel important even though it's calm and still. So I crack the window open, let the cold air kiss my face. Let the smoke escort my worries to a softer kind of place. If the world can't hear my whisper, that's okay, I understand. Every secret finds a home when it dissolves inside my hand. Passengers in my head, riding shotgun in the haze. 420 meditation on these late night highways. Needs a little mantra and a kick and snare. I'm alone inside the car, but there's a whole crowd in the air. If my doubts get loud, I just turn the volume up instead. Let the music take the wheel from all the passengers that's in my head. I got chapters I'm embarrassed by, decisions I regret. Times I chose the easy lie over the harder honest step. Friends I couldn't hold together, loves I didn't understand. Nights I stared into the mirror like a stranger to this man. But the rearview only shows me what I'm already driving past. I can't change the way I started, only how I finished last. So I practice giving grace to every kid I used to be. Every shaky, scared attempt at trying to learn to feel like me. I remember first time panic hit me heavy at the wheel. Palms sweaty, breath choking, thought the fear was fully real. Pulled over on the shoulder thinking this was how it ends. Now I'm back up in the driver's seat, that moment's just a lens. It taught me that I'm fragile, but it didn't say I'm weak. Taught me I can ask for help and still be strong when I speak. Now each smile is like a therapy I didn't know I need. Every sign a small reminder that I've chosen not to bleed. So I crack the window open, let the cold air kiss my face. Let the smoke escort my worries to a softer kind of place. If the world can't hear my whisper, that's okay, I understand. Every secret finds a home when it dissolves inside my hand. Passengers in my head, riding shotgun in the haze. 420 meditation on these late night highways. Means a little mantra and a kick and snare. I'm alone inside the car, but there's a whole crowd in the air. If my doubts get loud, I just turn the volume up instead. Ooh, let the music take the wheel from all the passengers in my head. Maybe heaven ain't a promise, maybe hell ain't just below. Maybe both are different routes on streets we think we know. Every choice another lane change, every no a hidden off ramp. Every yes a brand new city where the soul can set up camp. So I'm choosing softer routes, not ones with overlooks and trees. Ones where silence isn't awkward, where I'm welcome just to breathe. If I'm late to where I'm going, then at least I'll show up real. Not a polished little mannequin disguises how I feel. Passengers in my head, riding shotgun in the haze. 420 meditation on these late night highways. Needs a little mantra and a kick and snare. I'm alone inside the car, but there's a whole crowd in the air. If my doubts get loud, I just turn the volume up instead. Ooh, let the music take the wheel from all the passengers in my head. Engine soft, sky fading from purple into gray. I let the last of all the smoke draw halos as it drifts away. Lock the doors on all my ghosts, leave them resting where I bled. Drive home, just a little lighter, with passengers in my head. New night. Same road. hard though. Yeah. I remember who I was when I first touched this lane. Hungry for a little love, chasing any kind of fame. Trying to rap away the emptiness and half-finished songs, giving everybody pieces that were never really strong. Used to floor it just to feel like I was out running doubt. Gas pedal as a band, they never thought to talk it out. Every red light, every slowdown felt like punishment from fate. Like the universe was telling me I'd always be too late. But the odometer kept climbing even when I stayed in place, teaching me that time keeps moving whether or not I chase. So I learned to treat the journey like a friend instead of judge. Stop demanding constant motion just to prove that I'm enough. Now the dashboard's still the same, but the way I see it changed. Same cracked plastic, same old buttons, but the engine rearranged. I see comfort in the scratches, see survival in the wear. See a vessel that has carried me through every heavy prayer. I'm miles from who I was, even if the town's the same. 420 in my chest, Bluesy truth in my veins. I don't rush like I did, I don't beg like before. If you can't handle who I am, I ain't knocking on your door. Every exit that I took, every heartbreak that I crossed, just another stretch of highway where I found what I had lost. Now the night may look familiar, but I drive it just because I'm not running anymore. I'm just miles from who I was. I used to give my energy to people who just drain. Let them park inside my mind and leave their luggage in my brain. I mistook attention for affection, drama for real care. Let them talk like they were with me while they never really there. These days I keep it smaller, let the circle stay tight. 2 or 3 who understand me is enough to feel alright. If they riding when I'm quiet and not only when I shine, then they get a permanent lane right next to mine. I've been learning how to say no without writing a thesis, without over-explaining why my heart deserves its pieces. It's a simple sacred sentence that can save me from the cliff. Every time I let it exit, I can feel my spirit lift. I still doubt myself some evenings when the shadows talk too loud. Still compare my crooked timeline to somebody else's proud, but I answer with a memory of nights I nearly broke. Remind myself I'm standing here because I chose to slow. I'm miles from who I was, even if the town's the same. 420 in my chest, Bluesy truth in my veins. I don't rush like I did, I don't beg like before. If you can't handle who I am, I ain't knocking on your door. Every exit that I took, every heartbreak that I crossed, just another stretch of highway where I found what I had lost. Now the night may look familiar, but I drive it just because I'm not running anymore. I'm just miles from who I was. See, growth ain't always flashy like a sports car in the rain. Sometimes it's a rusty Civic holding trauma in its frame, but the engine still be faithful and the tires still roll, and the driver's finally gentle with the weight inside his soul. So I bless the broken versions that were doing what they could with the tools they had back then and the only way they understood. I don't hate the kid who panicked, doesn't mean he made me weak. He survived a set of storms no one else was forced to meet. Now I ride with clearer boundaries, keep my peace within my hands. If a vibe feels like a warning, I don't need to understand. I just listen to the tension sitting quiet in my chest. Change the route or change the speed, let my body choose the rest. I still chase a couple dreams, but they ain't chasing me back. I just water what I'm gifted and let life decide the track. If the songs reach 20 people or a city or the globe, I'ma still be in this car, spilling feelings on the road. And when younger me comes knocking on the glass inside my mind, fearful that he's still a failure, still too broken, still behind, I'll unlock the door and tell him hop and look at all we crossed. We ain't perfect, but we're breathing and we're miles from what we lost. I'm miles from who I was, even if the town's the same. 420 in my chest, Bluesy truth in my veins. I don't rush like I did, I don't beg like before. If you can't handle who I am, I ain't knocking on your door. Every exit that I took, every heartbreak that I crossed, just another stretch of highway where I found what I had lost. Now the night may look familiar, but I drive it just because I'm not running anymore. I'm just miles from who I was. Streetlights flicker as I pass, like they nodding in respect to the version of myself that I finally chose to protect. Cut the engine, let the silence hold the weight of what it does. Close my eyes and thank the road for the miles from who I was.
around the doubts. Let the city fall behind a little more. I slide into the driver's seat, hoodie on, head low, key twist, dashboard blooming to a violet little glow. Same road, different heartbeat, same scars, softer tone. Tonight I'm not escaping, I'm just leaving what I'm known. Got a half-burned blunt and a half-filled soul. Tattoos on my knuckles like a secret little code. Every line of conversation that my mouth can never speak. Every mile a small appointment with the calm I never see. Low for drum kit knocking through these half-blown speakers. Baseline heavy like the weight of all my deepest overthinkers. But the rhythm turn to pillows when it wraps around my chest. 420 medication that the doctor never pressed. Streetlights stretch like comets on the windshield when I roll. Time get blurry at the edges while I wrinkle on my roll. I ain't tryna be the hero of somebody else's film. I'm just tryna be a human that could sit and be still. So I let the engine hum the notes I never learned to play. Let the smoke draw little halos round the worries of the day. If the world can't understand me at the tempo that I choose, I'll just ride this purple mouth therapy and let them think I lose. Purple mouth therapy, slow lane remedy, 420 soundtrack for my low-key energy. Blues in the chord, truth in the rhyme. Every exit just a chance to give my heartbeat time. I don't need a destination, I just need this night. Neon on the dash, high beams on my fight. If tomorrow still confuses me, that's fine, we'll see. I'll be taking one more dose of this purple mouth.
I remember when I weaponized the gas under my shoe, chasing validation like the devil chasing you. Trying to outrun every echo of the times I felt too small. Driving fast into the future just to dodge a single call. I would measure all my worth in unread messages and views. Let the numbers be the jury when they never knew my blues. If a track broke 50 plays, I felt like maybe I exist. If it didn't, I dissolve into a digital abyss. But the moon don't change her brightness based on who's around the stairs. She just shows up every evening, same soft glow, same steady care. So I'm learning from her patience as I cruise beneath the light. Dropping expectations on the shoulder of the night. Now I value how it feels more than how it might perform. If the song can keep me breathing, that's enough to break the storm. If one stranger in the dark hears these bars and feel it's wrong, then this 20-minute drive turn to a 4-minute song.
So I let the engine hum the notes I never learned to play. Let the smoke draw little halos round the worries of the day. If the world can't understand me at the tempo that I choose, I'll just ride this purple mouth therapy and let them think I lose. Purple mouth therapy, slow lane remedy, 420 soundtrack for my low-key energy. Blues in the chord, truth in the rhyme. Every exit just a chance to give my heartbeat time. I don't need a destination, I just need this night. Neon on the dash, high beams on my flight. If tomorrow still confuses me, that's fine, we'll see. I'll be taking one more dose of this purple mouth.
I pull onto a lookout where the city looks like dust, where the problems shrink to pixels and the pressure feels unjust, where the mountains stand like elders who have watched it all before. Seeing humans burn their candles from the middle to the core. I lean back in the seat, let the headrest hold my weight. Close my eyes and turn the volume just enough to vibrate. Every kick a little nudge saying bro you're still alive. Every snare a tiny cheerleader yelling you'll survive. I think about younger versions of me stranded in the cold. No one taught them how to process, only told them to be bold. So they gritted through the panic, turned the fear into a joke. Now I'm here to hold their hand inside this insomnia smoke. I tell them you don't have to prove you're strong by never taking breaks. Strength is in the way you heal, not in how much pain it takes. We can turn this lonely highway to a temple made of sound, where the only sacred rule is that we're safe to break down. If the tears start falling, let them blend into the beat. Let them stain the worn out fabric underneath my restless feet. If my voice starts cracking on a bar I meant to hide, that just means the truth is finally tall enough to ride. I don't need a choir, just this 12-volt little shrine, where the dashboard is the altar and the incense is the pine, where the drawers of all my secrets slide wide open and close. And for once I ain't embarrassed of the mess that it shows, yeah.
Purple mouth therapy, slow lane remedy, 420 soundtrack for my low-key energy. Blues in the chord, truth in the rhyme. Every exit just a chance to give my heartbeat time. I don't need a destination, I just need this night. Neon on the dash, high beams on my flight. I'll be taking one more dose of this purple mouth therapy.
turn the soul up. Yeah. I used to think salvation came in trophies and in speed. Pedal down, vein up, always chasing some new need. Tryna hit 100 on the road, built for 55. Like the limit on my body was a dare to stay alive. But the check engine light started glowing in my chest. Heart knocking like a piston that ain't never get to rest. Brain buzzing like a power line about to overload. Anxiety, the GPS controlling every road. So I shifted out of habit, threw my pride into the back. Let the needle fall to 30 as I rolled along the track. Felt the tension melt a little with each meter that I lost. Like the time I thought I wasted was just fear, afraid of cost. Now the low gear is my choir, humming quiet underfoot. Every under ever gospel that reminds me where I stood. I ain't late, I ain't lazy, I'm just driving like I care about the engine and the driver and the weight they gotta bear. So I whisper to the night, if I'm slow still let me through. Let the stars be my approval when I'm doing what is true. I don't need the world to praise me for the laps I never ran. I just need this cadence where my soul and body can. Low gear, hallelujah, rolling like a hymn. 420 incense chasing demons from the rim. Blues in the keys, faith in the groove. I don't have to break myself just to prove I can move. If I only cross a fraction of the distance that they do, I'll still shout a low gear, hallelujah, for the peace I made it through. Homie still be flexing mileage like a currency in work. Bro, I did a triple shift, like that's proof of higher birth. Screenshots of insomnia, grind set on parade. But the glow behind the selfies got a little bit of fade. I ain't knocking hustle, I respect a hungry heart. But I've seen too many legends drifting empty, fall apart. Chasing every single bag while the spirit overdrafts. Stacking stacks on top of unpriced last. Me, I'd rather have a smaller pile and a softer spine. Rather know I'm showing up for folks I love in real time. Rather feel my shoulders loosen at the center of the beat than be famous and exhausted with a stranger in my seat. So I text the ones that matter, I'ma be off grid a while. Put the phone inside the glove box, let it buzz into the now. Roll the window, catch the breeze like a playlist for the skin. Hear the chorus of the gravel sing, you're really here again. So I whisper to the night, if I'm slow still let me through. Let the stars be my approval when I'm doing what is true. I don't need the world to praise me for the laps I never ran. I just need this cadence where my soul and body can. Low gear, hallelujah, rolling like a hymn. 420 incense chasing demons from the rim. Blues in the keys, faith in the groove. I don't have to break myself just to prove I can move. If I only cross a fraction of the distance that they do, I'll still shout a low gear, hallelujah, for the peace I made it through. Yeah. There's a sermon in the taillights drifting far in front of me. All those folks with different stories, different ghosts they never see. Some are running from the past, some are racing to belong. Some are numb enough to blast the radio and sing along. I don't know the way they suffer, they don't know the way I heal. But we share the same small ribbon laying under all our wheels. Same moon overseeing every breakdown, every cheer. Same dust grab every cabin in the same forgiving smear. So I send a little blessing in the smoke trail that I leave. May you find a pace that fits you, may you rest and still believe. May your low days not define you, may your high days not control. May you learn to love the middle where you're simply in your soul. Then I turn the music louder, let the organ chords swell up. Let the higher sprinkle stardust in my half-empty cup. I ain't in a church with steeples, I'm in leather, chrome and rust. But the gratitude I'm feeling turn this photo into trust. Hallelujah for the nights I almost didn't make it home. For the times I pulled the shoulders just to sob and be alone. Hallelujah for the moments when I finally hit the brake. Chose to honor what I'm carrying instead of what I fake. If the only choir singing is my heartbeat in the haze, that's enough of a congregation for the simple soul to praise. Low gear, hallelujah, rolling like a hymn. 420 incense chasing demons from the rim. Blues in the keys, faith in the groove. I don't have to break myself just to prove I can move. If I only cross a fraction of the distance that they do, I'll still shout a low gear, hallelujah, for the peace I made it through. Yeah. Engine cool, dawn pale, birds rehearse the morning choir. Kill the lights and feel inside a tiny pilot, light a fire. I may never the night.
I've been reading all my life like there's an answer in the signs. Billboards, broken conversations, little hints between the lines. Every text that didn't land, every call that came too late, felt like footnotes from the universe explaining ninth grade. So I packed it in my chest, let it sit like folded news. All these headlines of rejection that I taught myself is true, till the weight became a library that I carried every day, full of stories that were heavy but had nothing real to say. Tonight I crack a window, let the chapter catch a spark. Watch the smoke erase a paragraph I kept since I was dark. Neon ink along my knuckles, highlight all the parts I missed. Every moment I was worthy but too anxious to exist. Lo-fi kick inside the speakers, turn my heartbeat into prose. Snare is like a period at the end of every note. Bass is steady, underlined through all the verses of my pain. Purple sky, the margin where I scribble you're okay. So I let the vowels of my trauma drift in circles in the air. Consonants of quiet courage, spelling out that I'm still here. If the plotline feels confusing, that's just life without design. I'll just cruise and keep on writing all this smoke between the lines. Smoke between the lines, let the story rearrange. 420 editor, bending all my strings. Blues in the chords, grace in the rhyme. Every mile a little edit on the draft of my mind. If the past was badly written, I can still revise in time. Roll another tiny chapter, blow the smoke between the lines. I remember every teacher that mistook me for a joke. Every friend who changed the subject when they saw I almost broke. Every crush that used my softness like a cushion for their fall. Walked away with lighter luggage, left me buried in it all. So I built a little fortress out of punchlines and a grind. Always first to show up strong and always last to speak my mind. Played the role of always solid while my stomach tied in knots. Let the world applaud the mask and never ask about the cost. Now the road reflects my face in little fragments on the glass, and I see the contradiction between all the things I pass. Gas stations full of energy, motels full empty beds, cars full up on passengers with underfed heads. I ain't better, I'm just honest when I see it in myself. All the ways I sold my quiet for a sliver of their help. So I'm buying my voice back with every breath I take tonight, paying debt in little verses while the skyline fades from sight. So I let the vowels of my trauma drift in circles in the air. Consonants of quiet courage, spelling out that I'm still here. If the plotline feels confusing, that's just life without design. I'll just cruise and keep on writing all this smoke between the lines. Smoke between the lines, let the story rearrange. 420 editor, penning all my strings. Blues in the chords, grace in the rhyme. Every mile a little edit on the draft of my mind. If the past was badly written, I can still revise in time. Roll another tiny chapter, blow the smoke between the lines. Maybe I was never broken, just a draft in early ink. Judged by people who were skimming, never stopping up to think. Maybe healing isn't perfect, just a margin full of notes. Little hearts beside the sentences that kept my soul afloat. So I circle every moment that I show myself some care. Underline each time I stayed when I could've left me there. Right, you tried beside the failures, you were brave beside the fear. And in tiny cursive letters, thank you for still being here. Now I'm writing with a pen where I once carried only knives, turning every selfie tag into a footnote that survives. Not to punish, but remind me how far out the story grew. From a prologue full of panic to a chapter pulling through. I won't lie, the doubts still visit like a plot twist in the dark. But I hold the steering wheel and let them talk until they bark. Then I answer with a sentence that I learned along the way. I deserve the same compassion I keep giving out all. Day street lights blur like commas in an endless quiet run. Punctuation of the journey as I'm driving toward the sun. And if one kid hears this track and feels it's crazy in their head, that's a whole new book of meaning in the words I never said. Smoke between the lines, let the story rearrange. 420 headed, renting all my strings. Blues in the chords, grace in the rhyme. Every
mile, a little edit on the draft of my mind. If the past was barely written, I could still revise in time. Roll another tiny chapter, blow the smoke between the lines. Kill the engine, close the cover, let the night absorb my size. I ain't finished, but I'm better than the last of my ride. If they ask what I was doing while the city chased the signs, tell them I was on the highway, putting smoke between the lines. Putting smoke between the lines.
Everybody say go faster. I just wanna hear the stones under the tire. They told me life is short, better floor it while you can. Turn your every quiet moment to a monetizer plan. Post the hustle, post the grind, show them that you're never still. Wear the bags beneath your eyes like a flex, like a skill. So I try to live on God's speed, never touching any brakes. Measured love and late replies and success and stomach aches. But the faster that I pushed it, more the scenery went blank. Just a smear of maybe memories round a half collapsed tank. One night the engine coughed, dashboard lit up like a flame. Not the car but my own heart be failing at the game. Hands shook on the wheel, breath tripped on every word. Realized I've been driving like a rumor that I heard. So I turned onto a back road where the pavement starts to fade, where the asphalt breaks to gravel, little stones that haven't laid. And the sound beneath my tires like 1,000 tiny drums, playing you are not a robot in a language made of crumb. Now I chase a different music than the one they say I need. I just want that crunch of gravel underneath my Godspeed. Gravel under Godspeed, slowing down the rush. 420 revelation in the shiver and the crush. Bluesy and your murmur, tender on the ear. I don't need to break the limit just to prove that I'm sincere. If I'm last across the finish, but I finish still in me, let them laugh, I'll take the gravel over empty Godspeed. I started counting how many times I heard the word grind in a week's worth of advice from people losing their own mind. Every caption, every slogan like a hymn to overwork, singing praises to the burnout as a patriotic perk. But the heroes that I notice ain't the loudest on the feed. They the ones who learn to rest before they crash from all that speed. The ones who leave a message saying, yo, I'm off tonight, and don't apologize for choosing to protect the fragile light. So I'm out on my escape route on the tire tracks they left. Little detours off the highway where I rediscover breath. Turn my radio to jazz, let the trumpet clear my head. Let the Hyatt tell me secrets that the timeline's never said. Windshield speckled with the dust of roads I never knew. Every stone a tiny option I was never taught to choose. Like the option to be gentle with my unproductive days, or to value how it feels above the numbers and the price. I chase a different music than the one they say I need. I just want that crunch of gravel underneath my Godspeed. Gravel under Godspeed, slowing down the rush. 420 revelation in the shiver and the crush. How the engine murmur, tender on the ear. I don't need to break the limit just to prove that I'm sincere. If I'm last across the finish, but I finish still in me, let them laugh, I'll take the gravel over empty Godspeed. If the map says I'm behind, I'll redraw the legend key. Change the symbol for success till I can finally breathe as me. Mark the places where I pulled off just to cry beside the rails, as historic sites of courage on these mental travel tales. Cause the bravest thing I've done ain't any trophy on a shelf. It's the night I chose to live instead of outrunning myself. When now need shifting my existence from a blur into a song, and realize going slow, it doesn't mean you're doing wrong. Now when people ask me what's the secret to your lane, I just shrug and say I listen when my body talks of pain. I trade ego for survival, trade the sprint for steady breath. Cause I'd rather take the scenic than arrive already dead. There are still days I forget and mash the pedal out of spite. Try to prove that I can hang with every over-caffeine night. But the moment that I hear those little pebbles start to fade, I remember there's a promise in that crunching serenade. So I exit off the madness, let the others chase the storm, while I drive beneath the sky that's slowly shaping back to form. Purple wisps above the tree line, moon a quiet referee, blowing beat, slowing down the rush. 420 revelation in the shiver and the crush. Use the engine murmur, tender on the ear. I don't need to break the limit just to prove that I'm sincere. If I'm last across the finish, but I finish still in me. Let them laugh, I'll take the gravel over empty Godspeed. One day when the tank is empty and the auditor is done, I hope they say he drove his story, not just race to say he won. Till then I'll keep on choosing this rough and gentle creed. Purple sky above the back road, gravel under Godspeed.